Hi, in this video I will try to answer these questions, and I will check the questions to ask yourself about God, and I will try to it's my first time reading this, and we will see if Quran answers those questions. What does the word God mean to me? So Quran explains God's adjectives, what can capable to do, and why God created the world. So it explains it very clearly and very simply. It is very simple. What are my thoughts and feelings about God? And also you can see many verses about thoughts and feelings about God, fearing God, loving God, or praying God when you're in need of help. Why or why not? So Quran explains, I think, um, people who incline to not to believe in any rules, they want to be free and they're afraid to be judged. They incline not to believe in God. And people believe in God because they want to hold to truth and they want to feel the truth and they want to explain everything. There exists the reason why they exist, and there's no better explanation. So that's why they have to believe. If I believe in God, what do I think God is like? And Quran explains God's names and God's features as mentioned. Where does the idea of God come from? So, and Quran includes many stories from past and more stories of Musa, Jesus, and we see and we know about it. How has my image of God changed over time? So it mentions that sometimes people believe and for a period of time, and then they decided to not to believe, and so that it changed because it's a test. It should change. And so we are still not sure whether we will die as a believer or not. What is prayer and why do people do it? So people pray because God has created us, and also we should believe to stop ourselves from committing sins. So it is helpful practice. Meditation is recommended for everyone. Does everyone believe in the same God? So does everyone believe in that they indeed believe in the same God? It is not important how you call God X, Y, something else. So, but the God you believe should be the smartest one and will judge you. And it is actually not very complicated. It's not complicated at all. It's very simple. What are some ways that people try to explain the existence of God? So, in the Quran we can see many examples of it. How can the concept of God be applied to different aspects of life, such as careers and relationships? So if you believe in God, you know that God will judge you and you shouldn't harm other people and you should help other people. And you should choose career that you can maximize your help to society. What are some common arguments for and against the existence of God? Uh, there are many arguments, and we can see it in the Quran too. And some of them say that there's no resurrection, and but God says that you were nothing before. I have created you, and I have power to do this too. Do I have to believe in God to be a moral person? You don't have to believe in God to be a moral person. However, if you don't believe in God, why you are a moral person? So you cannot rationally explain it. What role does faith play in believing God? So the world is a test, and sort of there are miracles around, but those miracles those things, those associations, correlations cannot be 100% show you. So that it's a belief, but it is part of the test. So this is a faith. Indeed, there are evidences, accumulated evidences pushing you to believe, and this is most likely, and you know it, and it's up to you to decide. And if you don't believe, you will lose a lot, and this is fact. And so that then you choose believe or not to believe. It's not about your intelligence, it's not about your race, it's not about where you were born. It's actually about your own you decide yourself. So it's the power God gave us, and so that's the part of being tested. And if we can believe 100%, then what's the point of telling that it's a test? How can I deepen my understanding of God? Are there key texts or resources? So you can read the Quran, and there are many verses, and it explains it clearly, and it teaches us, and it is impressive. How can I overcome my fears and doubts about God? So I think it takes some time. So in the Quran it says, just because of you claim to believe, it doesn't mean that you are believing. So you should wait, and God will give you that power. How has my culture influenced my belief? So culture has an immense, so it affects indeed. However, culture is not everything. So we should also know about it. Are there any doctrines or practices within organized religion with which I am? And also, we shouldn't just think that cultural things are always true. We should criticize it, criticize the cultural religion, and we should purely believe in God. Are there any doctrines or practices within organized religion with which I'm uncomfortable? So indeed, there are many doctrines and practices, and it is not about believing in God, and they just create unnecessary rules. They make it hard to believe, and they try to make profit, and God mentions that in the Quran. If there is a God, what do they want from me? And God wants us to pray for God, and that's why God has created, and it's a test for us. Is it possible to know anything about gods with certainty? It depends on what certainty is. I think in our brain that we cannot certainly believe in anything. Like just certainty is about our emotions. So our emotions fluctuate, and there's no way to so so there is no 100% way to do this because our brain fluctuates, but we can believe like 99%, I guess. So I'm a believer. What questions I do still struggle with when it comes to gods? So there are many questions and some things that we cannot understand, but we understand most of it, and this is enough to believe. And so it's helpful, and it will make us to be a better person indeed. And so if we believe in God and do good things, and then hopefully we will pass the test. So that is what it is. So this is the meaning of everything indeed. So it's very simple. It's maybe boring, hard to believe, but it doesn't have to be. So it can be. So it doesn't have to be like very hard answer. It can be very simple and just ahead of you, and it's up to you, adopt it or reject it. So anyway, that's all I want to say, and thanks for listening to this video. And if you like it, you can subscribe to the channel, and I suggest you to read Quran. And if you think I made some mistakes, you can correct me, and God knows it better. And thanks for watching this video again.